Here's how to actually glow up mentally. Glowing up is usually associated with physical traits like getting a nice body, getting a nice haircut, upping your fashion game, etc. And these are all things that are good and you should do, but it's also important to glow up mentally so you're not just like an empty frame, but then when you actually look inside, there's like nothing of substance there, right? Like you want some actual depth to your character as well. I've been on self-improvement for about 2 years now. I feel like a lot of people don't really talk about this. A lot of mental glow up videos are just like aesthetic videos of girls being like, drink some lemon water in the morning and like have a matcha latte with oat milk and it's okay to feel bad sometimes, haha. And like, these are all like good things. Being hydrated is good, obviously, and matcha lattes are very nice, but these aren't really activities that kind of move the needle or make you a lot of progress in terms of glowing up mentally and developing your character. So my goal for this video is to give you actionable advice that does move the needle and will make you progress in glowing up mentally that you can start doing today. So first off, what does it really mean to glow up mentally? So to me, I interpret this as becoming more interesting, becoming more confident, and just how you can kind of train your body in the gym to make your body stronger. You can also train your mind so that it's more durable and powerful and will just perform better in everyday situations, whatever that means for you. So the first major thing to do to glow up mentally is kind of a no-brainer. It's to improve your mental health. And this is the kind of thing where it seems like an obvious answer, but then when you get really into like the nitty gritty of like, what exactly should I do in the next like 10 minutes to improve my mental health? Then people start to be like, And so to begin with, make sure you do the basic things that make sure your body and your brain are physically well. So exercise consistently and move every day. Make sure you eat right and make sure you sleep well. These are kind of the fundamentals of good mental health and will kind of give you a very solid foundation to build upon. Whereas if you don't have a good foundation to build upon, whatever you do end up building upon this bad foundation, it's very easy for it to kind of like topple over, right? So it's very important to get these fundamentals in place first. So after you get your fundamentals in place, one of the biggest impact things that you can do is to control your dopamine levels. Here's what I mean by this. To begin with, it's important to kind of understand the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification. And you've probably heard these terms before, but essentially instant gratification are these kind of cheap pleasures, these like activities that are very high dopamine, like video games, eating junk food, scrolling on TikTok, just things that feel good in the moment, but don't really make you progress towards your goals. So delayed gratification activities are activities such as going to the gym and working out, meditating, journaling, reading, studying, or building a business. Essentially general good for you activities that don't feel as good or exciting or pleasurable in the moment, but they do make you progress in building towards your life goals. You're essentially working for your future self and you're doing the hard work now so you can reap the benefits later. So now that you know the difference between instant gratification activities and delayed gratification activities, how do these play into controlling your baseline dopamine? Well, because these instant gratification activities really spike your dopamine each time you do them. So if you play some video games and you level up, then it spikes your dopamine. And like if you scroll on TikTok, every new video like kind of spikes your dopamine. Your baseline dopamine is kind of at like a pretty elevated state so that the delayed gratification activities, which aren't as like fulfilling or pleasurable in the moment, because they don't feel as good, they don't spike your dopamine as much. And it's very difficult and almost painful to do these low dopamine activities when your baseline dopamine is already so high. And essentially only these high dopamine activities are fun and everything else feels like shit. So like going to the gym, reading, it all just kind of feels terrible. Now, if you cut back on these instant gratification activities and your dopamine baseline is lower, then these kind of boring things start to feel more rewarding and more enjoyable. And not only this, other kind of more simple and small things in life will also be more enjoyable. For example, if you go out on a walk and you see all of like the colorful red and orange and yellow leaves, you'll take the time to be able to appreciate this beauty in the nature and you'll be able to enjoy the simple things like that and just other kind of small things in life a lot more. And so essentially by being able to control your dopamine levels and being able to do delayed gratification activities more, you will not only have better mental health, but you will also kind of make progress to your life goals a lot faster. And so when our parents were like telling us to not play video games and to go like, I don't know, do math or like play piano instead, like they were kind of onto something, we just didn't really like know about it yet. Here are some other great habits to implement that will also improve your mental health and just increase your overall well-being. First is showing gratitude and gratitude journaling. This is honestly one of the most like sleeper but overpowered like habits to do in improving your general happiness. And I say this because maybe you got like a bad grade on a test or like a girl that you like rejected you, or you got in a fight with a friend or something like that, right? And you kind of like feel like shit now. But you just have to like remember that you have like access to nutritious food and clean water and like you have a roof over your head. You have like the opportunity to be able to like be watching this video on like this magical electronic device that you have. And you should just be like grateful that you have all these things because it could definitely be a lot worse, right? And so just kind of having this appreciation of the things that you do have in life will kind of just like make your baseline happiness a lot higher. And in the long term, you kind of start showing gratitude towards like very small things in life. Like for example, again, these like very colorful like leaves outside because it's like it's fall and the leaves are turning color. And you just start to enjoy like the small things in life a lot more. And all these things added together just will increase your overall mental well-being, mental health, and just like, again, make you happier in life. Meditation is another great habit to make you more mentally well. Just how going to the gym trains your muscles to make your body more powerful, meditating trains your brain to make your mind more powerful. And a mind that is more powerful is a mind that is healthier and more mentally well. Having a mind that is more powerful will also make it easier for you to stick to the good habits and avoid the bad habits. So it'll make it easier for you to stick to eating clean and eating well. It'll make it easier for you to stick to a workout routine, and it'll also make it easier for you to avoid bad habits like, junk food, video games, whatever, right? And so just as how you only have one body in this life and you should treat your body like a temple, the same thing applies for your brain. You only have one brain in this life and you should treat it just as well, if not better, than your body. Because having a well-functioning brain will just kind of give like a very significant like baseline boost to like literally everything else that like you want to do and accomplish. I will admit that in my personal experience, feeling the actual effects of meditation substantially in your life does take quite a while. I've been meditating for about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, and I probably didn't start feeling like a lot of effects until I was a few months in maybe. But that's also a good thing as well, because if I've only been meditating for about 1 year or 2 years and I'm already feeling like substantial benefits from it, imagine how powerful my brain will be when I meditate for the rest of my life, when I meditate for another like 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 70 years, right? By the time I'm like 90 years old, I'll be like a fucking like 500 IQ mega mind. So again, everyone should meditate because you train your body to make your body healthier. You should also train your mind to make your mind healthier. Another general good habit is to just like go outside more. There's just something about being in nature that kind of just like makes you feel more at peace, makes you feel more calm and grounded. And it's just a good habit to increase overall like well-being. Okay, next, this is actually a really big one, so I probably should have gone over this earlier, but essentially no alcohol, no drugs, no porn, no fap. These are all just kind of cheap pleasures that spike your dopamine, but they also have like lasting negative effects on top of that. So there's really like no reason to be doing these things. And you might be quite taken aback by this, especially because these are all kind of things that are pretty ingrained in like modern society, which is like quite terrible, honestly. Alcohol, for example, like so many people kind of revolve their lives around alcohol, but there's genuinely no benefits to drinking alcohol, right? Like there's no health benefits, not even like a cup of red wine like every other night or whatever is good for you. Like studies have kind of debunked that. And like, sure, it might help in like social situations, but by kind of like going to these social situations sober, you're kind of able to like level up your social skills more, right? There's just like nothing good comes from drinking alcohol. And finally, taking the Science of Well-Being course. Now, this is an online course by Yale University, but this is just like a great, like very famous course that kind of just goes over like the science of like being well. There's so much value in this course and so much good information. Like people pay like thousands of dollars for courses, and this one is free, but it's probably worth like tens of thousands of dollars, like if not more. So your actionable step for this kind of section is to just go and sign up for the Science of Wellbeing class and just like do everything in there, because it'll kind of go more into like gratitude journaling, meditation, and all these other good habits. And if you actually like follow through and complete this course, it will probably change your life. And I don't say that very lightly. So those are a few things that you can do to improve your mental health. There's a lot of other things, but those are kind of like the big hitters. If this video has been helpful to you so far, please hit that like and subscribe button so that this video can reach more people and it'll help more people. Thanks. So the next step that you can take to kind of glow up mentally is to focus on your ambitions, your goals, and your purpose. As guys, it's especially important to have some ambition or goal or purpose that you are focusing on and working towards. Essentially, have a craft that you want to become the best at and obsess over it and become a master at it. And the primary requirement for this like craft or thing that you focus on is that you're either really passionate about it or you really resonate with it. And it should also be self-transcending, which means that it helps other people and it also contributes good to the world. So that means that it's not like something that you do like purely for your own like benefit. So back in the old days, there were swordsmiths, right? Where their primary job was to kind of make swords for like their kingdom's army or whatever, right? And because this was their main craft, they spent their whole lives pretty much just making swords. And because of how much practice this gave them, they became really good at it. And so this would be their craft or like purpose that they kind of obsessed over. And it's also self-transcending because by making good swords, it kind of gives their like, I don't know, armies like a competitive advantage in like defending from invasion or whatever, right? But it is true that in the old days, they kind of had to do this in order to survive and feed their family. Nowadays, you don't really need to kind of like find a craft and become really good at it. You can kind of just be mediocre at something and kind of get like a cushy job and you'll be able to support a family nowadays. But the thing is that these people will kind of never become like the best at what they're doing. And it's also not usually something that they particularly enjoy doing either. And so if you want to be more successful than these people, then you need to find a craft. So a good modern day example would be someone who was really fat but then lost a lot of weight and went through this huge life-changing health transformation, right? And now he wants to kind of help other people go through this similarly huge life transformation. Now, this is something that he's probably very passionate about, and it's also helping other people because it's really like, making them a lot healthier. Another good example of this is a programmer who just really loves coding and wants to kind of contribute to helping like build the future, like the tech of the future, right? And so this is again a craft that they're quite passionate about, and it also like self-transcends in that they're like, making the world better by kind of building the future. And so essentially you need to find this craft, this thing, this purpose that you are extremely passionate about, so you can obsess over it and become really good at it. Having this mission in your life and kind of focusing on this purpose is an extremely attractive trait for a guy to have, and it's also a very like mentally mature thing for a guy to have as well. Now you might be wondering, how do I find this craft? How do I know what my purpose is? Well, you do know that one, you have to be passionate about it or really resonate with it, and two, it has to be self-transcending. So with kind of these two things in mind, this kind of leads to my next point. So the final thing that I'm going to cover in this video to glow up mentally is to just experience things. And there's a lot of ways to do this, but some of the best ways are: one, to travel, and specifically to go solo backpacking. Solo backpacking is such a great experience that I truly believe that everyone should like do at some point, because you grow so much in so many different aspects. Because this forces you to talk to strangers and converse with them, and to kind of just generally meet people and make new friends. And this will in itself will level up your social skills massively. Not only will you increase your social skills, you also just learn so much in general when you travel because of the people that you interact with, whether that be like other travelers from like other countries and other like cultures, or like, locals or whatever. And you kind of just learn to be alone and independent, but also like you learn to like connect with other people, like, and other strangers that are like pretty different from you. And you will be put in like a good amount of uncomfortable situations, and those uncomfortable situations, that is where you grow the most. So traveling and solo backpacking is one of the best ways to experience new things. Another way to experience new things and to just generally glow up mentally and become more interesting is to get interesting hobbies. To become more well-rounded and well-balanced, it's generally good to have at least one physical hobby, one mental hobby, and one creative hobby. Physical hobbies will keep you active and athletic, and these can be things such as, like yoga, running, like sports, weightlifting, whatever. I personally do ultimate frisbee, jiu-jitsu, calisthenics, and weightlifting. A mental hobby will keep your brain sharp, and this can be things like chess, reading, programming, and writing. And finally, creative hobbies just kind of get your creative juices flowing and just make you more well-rounded in general. And so these are things like musical instruments, making music, painting, drawing, just like art in general as well, cooking, and even like creating content and just like making videos. And it's good to have at least one hobby in each of these categories, because not only will it add to your character development and brain development, because you have to like learn how to do all these things, it will make you a lot better at the skill of learning in itself. And that is obviously like extremely valuable. So those are just a few ways that you can kind of glow up mentally. There's a lot more that you can do, and it's a very broad and complex topic. But for the purposes of keeping this video like concise and coherent and kind of like streamlined, I tried to choose like a few things that would kind of have the biggest impact on helping you glow up mentally. So join my Discord, it's called Timo's Temple. We have a lot of like self-improvement discussions and kind of like sharing our progress. I share my experiences there, and it's just like a good time overall. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, then you'll also find more information about that in the description below. And also let me know what other like video topics that you want me to cover in the comments below, and I will try my best to kind of help you as best as I can. But other than that, thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.